All right, hey everybody. As promised, it's Matt Williams, and we are going live right now. And hopefully, in a little bit, we are going to be getting some. Oops, I've got to do something here. All right. Here's Anthony. Let's see.
What's
All
up, man?
right, there he is.
What's up, dog?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm great, man. I've had one of those fast-paced days where it's like it seriously feels like it's been 1 hour. But I've been at this since about 9 a.m. I'm not done till I'm talking back to back. I'm not even done till like 4.
Brother, you are in really high demand.
Hey, you know
Yeah.
what? At the end of the day, whenever you start achieving things, you essentially get the problems that you asked for, but didn't realize you were asking for them. And it's not a problem, but you do get stretched. And so those who are successful, they lean into the stretch. They don't go, oh man, this is more than I anticipated. Womp. I go, hey, this is more than I anticipated. Let's see what else I can stretch into. So I'm
It's funny you should say that, because I talk to people all the time. As you get more and more successful, one of the things that you have to start getting good at is saying no, is learning how to say no sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
Yeah, where you can say yes without saying no to something you already said yes to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
How you doing, man?
That's a toughie. I'm doing great, bro. How are you?
I'm great, bro. I'm eating my pretzel snack. I get these
All right.
little peanut butter filled pretzels and a great sparkling water.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Now, well, I won't get into coronavirus, but I heard about tonic water having a certain chemical in it that is good for helping kind of prohibit the disease. So I don't know
that's
if
good to know.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Hey,
tell my wife because she gets mad that she thinks that these are like sodas, and I'm like, this is not a soda. This is
well,
water.
but I am guilty that if I have a vice, diet soda is one of my vices, and I get. It's funny. I was doing an Instagram live video just last week on mortgage stuff, real estate stuff, and I had somebody commenting in the comments, "You shouldn't be drinking that diet soda, bro." So
Hey, people go
I
hard.
planned ahead. I got water on this one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kelly M85 with you. She gets it. What do
Well,
you want to talk about today, man? What do you want to cover? How do we want to help people who are sitting there at home right now, tuned in? Like, are we going to listen to them talk about diet soda all day, or are we going to help their lives?
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, Anthony, what I thought I'd do first is, because there's a handful of people following me, I just wanted to introduce you and give your background a little bit, or even let you do it if you want, whatever you want.
Whatever, because you know your people. Whatever you think will be resonating with them better.
Yeah. So everybody, this right here is Anthony Trucks. Anthony, I'll just start at college. He played football at the U of O. Go Ducks. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Would it be bad? Would you jump off this call if I told you I was always a Beaver fan, though?
No, it's okay. I mean, there has to be bad teams in order for good teams to exist. I mean, I don't know what it's like to cry yourself to sleep each night, but I'm sure you figured it out by now.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, look at Nessa. She lives in Eugene. I know who that girl is. She's going, oh, okay. So then Anthony went on, played in the NFL, and then became an American Ninja Warrior. And around that same time, was becoming a very successful entrepreneur. You've gone on and you become a very, very successful speaker. Did you know I'm a speaker as well? I don't know if you knew that.
You told me, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I just wanted to, with everything, I've been profoundly influenced by Anthony's content and the stuff he's been putting out there. And so I was hoping to maybe have you dominate this a little bit more than me, or a lot more than me.
Whatever you want.
And share with folks, because here's the reality. I've been getting a lot of messages, and it started with people that had gone through my events and stuff on the real estate side. But I've gotten feedback from a lot of people that, they're doing well. Some people haven't lost their jobs or their careers or anything else. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of people that they're doing well. They're enjoying time with their family. They're enjoying time at home or doing their recreational activities. Mm-hmm. But that I'm hearing from a lot of folks that once in a while, these little moments of uncertainty, kind of creep in, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what if my job's going to be waiting for me later on.
Yeah.
Some people are even worried about a lack of revenue coming in during this
Yep.
time, whatever. And I just thought, I bet Anthony has a lot of different tips on things that we can do, whether it be with our fitness, our spiritual lives, our
Yeah.
just with our family, our hobbies, whatever it is, business ideas, but just whatever it is to kind of keep us focused. You know, motion creates emotion kind of thing, and
Yeah.
to just keep us kind of focused and dialed in and on the right track. And so I was hoping maybe you could just share a
Take
little
it
bit.
take it over and roll. So
Yeah.
hey. So this is my perspective. Is that for me, I see a lot of opportunity where everybody else sees a lot of lack thereof, or a lot of scarcity, and it happens, man. It's this thing. I don't want to demean anybody who feels a little bit scared, a little bit like a leaf in the wind. It's normal. It's a complete natural feel. I feel the exact same way. But there's something you can do to help yourself control the situation. Because you can't control the situation, but you can control things within it. And then it takes away some of the feeling of a leaf in the wind. And at the same time, it lets you get more at peace and more at ease. So what I want to be able to focus on is giving you guys a couple thoughts and perspectives. Because the most important thing for us to be able to have a new feeling is a new perspective. I tell people perspective precedes enlightenment. The aha moments, like, oh, it makes so much more sense now. Like, that's all we're looking for. You don't have to do a bunch of crazy to see something differently, right? Like if I'm sitting here telling you, I don't know, that there's grapes in this can, and you say, no, there's not. And I say, yeah, there's grapes in the can. You say, no, there's not. And I say, well, look at this. You're like, oh, okay, I get it now, right? So that's all I want to be able to give people thoughts-wise. So here's what I want to look at. One, your first thing was, how do we deal with people who are feeling like we're okay, but every once in a while I get to that point of like, man, like what's really going on? I don't know. And you can actually feel a welling up of anxiety that picks up, and I get to this stressful point of, what do I do? And then I act all funny. Here's always my thought. I want to protect the quality of the next moments of my life.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. Like if I can protect the quality of the next moments by determining what they'll be, then I'm gonna be in a better space. And so it's normal to have the feeling, to feel like that. And what happens when I feel like I don't know what's going on, I feel helpless. When I feel helpless, it's very scary. It's like being like out at sea. Like that's the scariest thing, is when I don't have some kind of control, I feel very, very scared. I tuck away, I don't take action. And then what happens, I get lost in that thought process, like a car careening downhill with no e-brake on. Like I'm just lost, right?
Yeah.
So what you can do is realize that when you get to the point of having this helpless feeling, like I don't know what's going on, realize there are things you can control. And when you try to control them, it redirects your focus. And the focus is a big piece. Where my focus goes is exactly where all my energy is going to flow.
You feed the animal. The animal that dominates is the animal
wins.
that's fed.
Exactly. So if I'm focused on this sucks, this is horrible, this is bad, all I'm going to feel energy-wise is this sucks. Oh, man, right? But if I can start taking some kind of perspective and what can I control? Maybe I can control that I get up and go outside. And honestly, physiology can adjust to psychology and how I feel. Privyet, David Smirsky. Privyet means, there's Prajausta. I have some Russian in me. Hey, don't get it twisted. I got some things. So what ends up happening is we get to the point of like, now I got to take an action, and you don't know what action to take, but I'm promising you, take any action. Because now what happens is I have something I can control. I can control my thoughts a little bit, which means I go and read something that changes my thoughts. I can go and watch something that changes my thoughts. I can have a conversation with somebody that can redirect my thoughts. I can get up and move, right? Because when I start focusing on something, I can't focus on 70 things at once. So a new focus, it takes you away from the crazy focus. So that action can help alleviate some of the stress. And now I feel like, you know what? I do have some control of something. So I don't have no control. I'm not completely out of control, but I have control of something. And it gives me a little bit more of a peaceful place to be. Then what you have to do is realize that in order for you to affect any suffering we have. So if maybe I am broke and I have no money, maybe I am scared, whatever it is, it's a suffering, right? There's a suffering in being hungry. There's a suffering in like, oh, I got to get up and get the remote across the room. There's also a suffering in, I don't know how I'm going to feed my family. Right. I don't know how I'm going to, I'm sick, I'm hurt, whatever it is. But here's the one singular thing that can help adjust all of that. And it's action. Action ends suffering.
Yes. Yes.
Key, simple. It's the only thing that does. Because if you're suffering, you can do like 95-5, I call it. So 95% of the time, people will be in a space of taking no action, and they'll just suffer. They'll stew, they'll think about it. And the longer you're in the problem, so to speak. And they make 5% of the time take any action the opposite. But if you take it and flip that and say, you know what, I'm going to spend 95% of my time taking an action. It could be the wrong action. It could be any action. What happens is the action puts me in a position to end the suffering. But here's the kicker. You don't feel like it. The last thing I want to do is do any kind of bold action right now. If everything's going crazy, the last thing I feel like doing is taking any kind of bold action. So I sit there and I do nothing. So we stay in the 95. And what I tell people is you got to activate kind of like your alter ego, like your secret self. There's a secret self in the background of all of us that's just ripping and rolling, ready to go. But your main self keeps shutting it up. No, shut up. We don't want to do it. No, be quiet. No, shut up. I don't want to. That's scary. I don't want. So you got to let that person loose. And I'm a football guy. So I kind of think of it, anybody that's watched sports, think of it kind of like when you're a coach and you got an athlete. When the athlete goes into the game, as an athlete, the coach on the sideline watching, they can't control what the athlete does. They're just out there going crazy, right? And then what happens when the athlete comes to the sideline, the coach can then say, hey, look, we need to refine this. You didn't have your eyes on this. You missed this. You can coach, then put the athlete back on the field. And so a lot of us, we're trying to be the athlete on the field and the coach on the field. You can't do that. Because if I had a coach in the field when I played, I would get nothing done. I'd be second guessing everything. Nothing. I wouldn't make mistakes to know what to do right. So what you have to do is when you get to these moments of needing to take action, be okay with being a coach on the sideline and sending your secret self out in the field and let that person miss a tackle, miss a kick, make a catch, do whatever. If they make a mistake, when they get back, coach it. They do phenomenal, celebrate it. But the more you start putting that person out there and let them do them, they get better and better and better. And now because of taking an action, I can actually win the game, right? I'm in the game. If you're on the sideline all day long, you can't win the game. You're not taking an action to end the suffering. And so for me, it's all about how do I get someone to take super unconfident, consistent action? Because that's the only thing that ends the suffering we have right now.
Real quick, if you want to say hi, Jack, say hi, Jack. Jack's an 8th grade football player that plays with my son.
What's up, Jack? Jack, Jack, I love the young bucks playing football, man. We have a different world nowadays. All the moms are afraid of kids playing sports, so I'm glad there's still guys playing.
Football numbers are down, but not here in Salem, and certainly not in our South Salem program. But anyways, I want to go back to what you're saying. But Jack, I wanted to give you a shout out, buddy. I'm glad you're watching. So you're kind of talking about this movement and empowering yourself, giving yourself permission to get out there and take action.
Yeah.
And you were also kind of talking about those two mindsets. Have you heard of John Assaraf?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wrote a book. And I'm forgetting the book, but in one of his books, he talked about the two Steins, the Einstein and the Frankenstein in your brain. Mm-hmm. And that the Einstein is always thinking about creative things and positive things and things that you could do to be productive. And the Frankenstein is the other part of your brain saying, no, that's not a good idea. Don't do that. You might as well just sit down, or fear or whatever. Mm-hmm. And exactly what you're saying is that whole thing of, empowering more of the Einstein part of your brain and not feeding or empowering the Frankenstein part of your brain.
Yeah. Very, very much easier said than done. But the thing is it's a practice. Like, if anybody doesn't know, I grew up in a crazy experience as a child, man. I didn't have an inset wiring to think how I do. It's a practice. It's a consistent, like me living life and realizing there's a lot of times when there was a good 3-year gap where I took no action and I sat in a fog for a long time, like years, right? So I'm not saying this out of a place of like, I've always been joyful. I'm saying it from a place of I wasn't always joyful. And I've been the person that's on the bottom. Just how do you get out of this? And I started realizing, like, I just gotta start making some adjustments. There's this metaphor I use about a computer. Have I told you about the computer metaphor?
No, I want to hear.
Oh, this is like the one that's my heart and the heart of my work, right? Because what I do is I teach people to upgrade how they operate so they can elevate life and business. Like it's an operating thing, but the operating process comes from a computer metaphor. So if you think about a computer, this phone right now we're all on, right? This is a phone. And the phone, what ends up happening is you have, this thing you're using, and then there's programs. And the programs run pretty smooth, and then all of a sudden you start finding like a little pop-up comes up, says, hey, you need to update. And you're like, no, I can't do it. Snooze it for 24 hours. Comes up again like, hey, you got to update this thing. No, snooze it. And then after a while, the software stops working. If it's a laptop, the programs stop working. They start bogging down, and eventually you get that spinning wheel of death. That spinning wheel like, oh, my, why won't anything work? And eventually you might open in safe mode and say, okay, I'm going to open this thing in safe mode, and I'm going to cut off some of the programs, but use the core functionality of the computer.
Yeah.
But then you can't really get full functionality. So eventually what you do is say, all right, I'm going to step away. I'm going to let it update, take the time, which the time is the frustrating part. Take the time, let it update. And then after I do that, I come back. Now it's running smooth again. I get everything done. So the concept, you marry it over to the fact that we as humans are kind of like hardware operating every single day. We wake up as this hardware, and then what we have is a lot of us are having this software like Windows 95 running it. We're just running off this crazy old, like, I when I was a kid, this happened. My first job, this happened. My first relationship, this happened. And I got this bad programming. And what happens, the updates come in. They say, hey, you need to be a better communicator in your marriage. Ah, don't snooze that. Hey, you need to eat healthier. Ah, snooze that. Hey, you got to be better at work. You got to show up and be more consistent. Ah, snooze that. We keep snoozing it. And after a while, the programs, our health, wealth, relationships, career, like all these things, these all start bogging down. And then we do tuck away, we go safe mode. I'm going to cut everybody off and get siloed in. And then you just get like no operation. Your life sucks. You can't get the full use of this software and the hardware together. So eventually what you do is you'll see people, they'll step away from life. The fondest step away and say, I'm not going to drink, party, do all this. I'm going to tuck myself away. I'm going to create the separation, and I'm going to let that thing up. I'm going to read the books, go to the programs, the seminars. I'm going to do the work so it can load, and I'm going to download new things, and I'm going to upload them to the system. And then what happens, you come back, and all of a sudden, hey, I'm running smooth again. Like the software is running, the identity is what this is. The identity is running this hardware better. And if a pop-up comes in, well, guess what? The majority of the updates have been done, but more come in. Like, hey, now you're making more money. Like, you got to get a better investor. Okay, let's hit that one. I need to help somebody invest. Hey, you're getting in great shape. Maybe you got to figure out like how to share this. No, okay, I'll help my wife and my kids. Like, you'll do more, and you'll do the updates because they're not going to take as long, and you know the benefit of them because it keeps you running smoother. So anybody watching right now, if we're having this aspect of like, I'm bogged down, I feel small, the only reason I'm where I'm at is because I took a good chunk of time to sit back and remove myself from a lot of life. Like I got divorced. I had my kids were going back and forth. I had no money. I had my businesses were falling apart. I was out of shape, like all of it, man. And then I was like, all right, something's broken. Like this cannot be my consistent life from here forward. So I stepped back and I started like, I cut off all women, all going out, all partying. I read books. I did work. I had conversations I didn't want to have. And I came back to life smoother, man. Better operate machine. My marriage got back together. My ex-wife and I are now back together amazingly. Kids have a present father. I'm in good shape. Businesses run smooth. Like I do more, but I'm always getting updates. I constantly getting stuff from people like, hey, this is going on. Like, I don't want to deal with, okay, let's deal with this right now. My wife will complain about something. Or the kids need something, right? So it's always a process, ebb and flow. But at this point, like I'm operating off of like, Windows 2020, April 10th, you know what I mean? Like, I am up to date. And if you can stay up to date, you can have an amazing life.
Real quick, before I ask you a question, while you were talking about that, my own son, Parker, joined on this. So if you want to say hi, Parker, that'd be awesome.
What's up, Parker? That's like Peter, it's like Peter Parker, like Spider-Man.
He's a wide receiver, bro.
When I was in high school, I was first team all league. I had a majority of my offers were to go to college as a wideout. So I could have went to like, I think USC, Washington State, Utah, a bunch were all for wideout. And then I went to Oregon and played linebacker of all things. Yeah,
I noticed you originally were 84 or something, right?
I did. There's a weird story behind that. So first off, yes, if you have 6 hours to chop a tree, spend 5 hours sharpening. Kashmash. It's a weird name, but I like it. So what I did is when I went to college.
Fighter.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I'm not going to say anything negative because he'll probably beat me up. Whenever I was in college, like I had this weird odd number phobia. Like I always wanted even numbers. So I got to college, they had like number like 31 and like, a 57. I was like, no, I need an even number. Like, do you have like 22 or like 44? Like, we don't. I was like, well, we got 84. I'll take it. So I took 84 and I was the only linebacker with number 84, which those of you guys who don't know, it's a receiver number. Killing it as linebacker though. People are like, why do you wear that? I was like, because I want to.
That's awesome, man. All right, so here's the question I was going to ask you. One of the things that I've talked to people a little bit about is what's with, breaking everything down that you're feeling or thinking about or thoughts that creep in. Break everything down and ask yourself this question. What is within my control versus what is not within my control? Now, I didn't prep you for any of these questions, so, I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot with something.
I wouldn't be good at what I do if I couldn't handle questions off the cuff, man. We're good.
So what would you talk about that and how we process or respond and think about things that are within our control versus things that are not within our control or out of our control?
Well, for me, we want things to be in our control that aren't, right? And things that are in our control, we don't want to accept are in our control sometimes. So there's times when I'll have things I'm like, I want to control that. And I can't, but I want to, and I can't, and I want to, and that freaks me out. And so part of it is just like the realization of, you know what? There's something out there that's not within my control, and that is totally okay. And then the other part of it, I got these things in my throat. Other part of it is there's a lot of stuff in your control that you don't want to accept in your control. Because then it means you have to own there's a part of you or some action you did that wasn't the greatest. And oh boy, do we not want to accept that there's something wrong. It's funny. We'll tell people, I'm not perfect. I'll say, okay, what are you not perfect at? Right?
Yeah.
One of the worst interviews questions is to ask somebody, so what are some of the areas you need improvement on?
I hate that thing.
No one knows. No, I don't know what to say, right? And that's a problem. Because what happens is you're wondering, what can I control? There's so. But if you aren't aware of what you can control, you'll never control, it'll never change, you'll always be stuck. It's kind of like that invisible, like it's like Wonder Woman's invisible rope on your leg. Why am I stuck here? I don't know why I'm stuck. Well, you haven't gone back to figure out really what you need to work on. It's in your control to adjust. And sometimes it is reactions. It's actions. It's the way you believe, the certain beliefs you have. It could be the thoughts in your head running all day long that are silent, but they're killers. And if you can figure out, like, okay, what is in my control really? Like for me, for example, my relationship. When I was, I was a young father, 20 years old, married my high school sweetheart. We had 2 more kids, and we got divorced because my wife, like I neglected the hell out of her. I was at work 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. She had an affair. Broke my heart, man. For a lot of years, I was like, it's all her fault. No matter what women I'm with, it's always going to be the end of the world for like years. And then I finally did my update, and I was like, well, what she did was horrible, right? But it took 2 people to get to a point where she even felt like she needed to make a decision. She didn't do what she did to hurt me on purpose. She was seeking out her own needs. And so for me, I had to step back and say, wow, like this sucks, but that was in my control. I had some control there. And what happens when I take the control, it typically comes with a little bit of pain, of acceptance, of I got to work on this. And so if you're trying to find out what that thing is, man, like, and woman, it's the thing that if you sit back and own it, it's going to be like, oh, dagger in the heart. All right. Because what happens is now I get out of the helpless place and I get into the I have control place. And now we start being able to take better actions. And this is cool. It creates hope. When I can realize my crap, like I could, oh, you know what? Okay, and I can actually have a phenomenal relationship if I figure this stuff out now. Before that, it was like, no matter what I do, it's never, but now I'm like, oh, I could do that. Okay, cool. And then I started building. And that's how it is for a lot of us in life.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a couple messages there. I'm loving this. So, you were talking about action too. And first of all, one thing I'll tell you guys, if you want, just for the heck of it, because I'm curious, type in what city or state or even country that you're in. Type that in. I'm just curious where everybody's from.
I like that idea.
So,
yes, Cash Mash. Yeah, he said it is a good comment. He said.
Well, you know what? I'll use Cash as an example. Cash.
Cash Smash. That's much better sounding.
Cash Smash. I've known him for a while, so I know who he is. But so I'll use Cash. So we got Oregon covered, of course. London. All right, London.
Oregon.
Hawaii. Fantastic.
Aloha. Or like this. Aloha.
California. Ukaipa. I played baseball with a guy from Ukaipa, California. There's a guy from Washington State. Montreal. I know
Montreal.
how to. I've spoken in Montreal many, many, many times.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah,
Montreal.
Well, they don't say A in Montreal.
What do they do? It's like French. Oh, like Quebec area.
Yeah, Quebec. Yeah, Park
City,
San Diego. Sweet. But one of the things that I'll use Cash as an example. I'm going way off of any direction I thought we.
Hey, this is life. Let it ride, man. Don't apologize.
What you're talking about is when you're being honest with yourself, and that stings, but you got to do that. I'll use Cash as an example.
Phoenix.
So as a fighter, Cash, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a fighter needs to get hit. Right?
Yeah.
When they're practicing and they're working out, they need to get hit to build up scar tissue and build up getting used to that feeling so that it doesn't shock them later on when they're in the cage, right?
Yeah.
Or in the ring.
That makes sense.
So you as a football player had to get hit in practice, because if you waited to a game to get hit, you'd be like, holy crap, what just happened?
Yeah.
Right? You know,
Smooth
and
sea makes not a skilled sailor.
yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of the same thing as what you're saying about being honest with yourself and just kind of evaluating that, even if it stings a little bit, right?
Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, because when you can take a punch and you like don't mind getting in the ring, but if you're scared taking a punch, you'll never get in the ring, man. You got to fight. Fighting, life is fighting. And I got a hard stop in 5 minutes. I got to hop on for a call, but just give you a heads up. But yeah,
All
no,
right,
I agree with you. Got to.
I'll say one more thing that I was thinking about, and you go off on this. I'm telling a lot of people to stay in or get into and find a routine. What do you think about that?
You have to. That's what you can. That's what you can control. What's crazy is you can control the actions, and the actions will put you physically in a space where you have a sense of ease because you know what to expect. We're at a biomechanical, sort of like a bio level, like a biology level. We have a desire for homeostasis as humans. Our body naturally wants to find an ease and a normalcy and a consistency. Like your body recovers better when it knows when it's sleeping, when it's eating, when it's recovering. If you can do that, you get to a good rhythm, and rhythm helps you, man. So rhythm is a good. I mean, think about music. When you got good songs, a good rhythm, like it takes you away. You can create that for your life, and if you can do that, you feel more empowered. You think about it. We're really talking about how you feel. And people think that a feeling is out of my control completely. Your response sometimes could be, but you can eventually reel that thing back in. But the reality is if you can react to a feeling, why can't you create a feeling? And if you look at habits and consistent patterns, you can actually create the feeling, and feelings drive our actions.
I heard a psychologist once say that feelings aren't wrong. You know, everybody's like, well, you got to change how you feel about this or what your outlook is. No. Feelings aren't wrong. It's how you respond to that feeling, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, when emotions high, intelligence is low. When I'm super wired up and I'm too happy or too sad, I don't think logically. I make dumb mistakes. I say things out of anger. I make dumb decisions. Oh yeah, everybody gets a round of drinks. Like, you know what I mean? So there's things you do, and you just got to realize, like, hey, my emotions high. Don't make crazy decisions. Like, find a way to control that, think through it, bring it back to logic, and you'll be able to make better decisions, and life is smoother.
Dude, you're awesome.
Thank you, man. You too, bro.
You're awesome. I appreciate you spending some time with us, bud.
Very welcome, man. Seriously.
Yeah, you guys, if you aren't following Anthony on Instagram, make sure and give him a follow. He's already got a gazillion followers. And, dude, I couldn't believe how many followers you got on Facebook, too.
Yeah, I got a good little gross back and forth. Like, I have some fun, man. I share a lot of weird stuff over the years. It's been like 6 years. I've been talking for a while doing this.
Yeah, dude. It's so awesome. So, hey, thank you, man, for the time. I'm going to try and record this later and share it with anybody that couldn't watch it live.
Cool.
Hopefully people will find a little bit of encouragement and a couple nuggets. And if they find a couple nuggets, then it was worth the 30 minutes. So
then it was worth it, my man. I agree.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
Very welcome. Everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless all.
See you, man. All right, everybody. So that was time with Anthony. I hope you all got out of it. Like I said earlier, if you got just one thing out of that, then it was worth it. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Guys, Anthony's big time. You wouldn't believe his speaking fee or his coaching fees and everything like that. And he just came and you got to spend half an hour with him for nothing. And so I hope you guys like it. I'm going to try and see if I can find a way to record this and so that we can play it back later on both Facebook and Instagram. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And I'll keep trying my darndest to bring some other people to you. I was originally thinking that I was just going to bring people to you real estate related, but I'm kind of thinking I'll go bigger than that. Hey, Cash, I believe you were the one that called me out last time. Look at this, brother. I got your water right here. Yeah. A lot of you talking about me drinking diet soda. Well, there's my water. Anyways, so thank you, brother. I can never keep up with you though, man. Anyway, so, but what I was saying is I'm going to branch off of real estate and keep trying to bring more and more content. I'm going to tell you, those of you that are still on here, there's about 15 of you all still on here. When I have and am able to bring somebody to you guys to share even a small message, Yeah, that's right. My daughter Caitlin, water for the win. I got you, babe. But when I try and bring somebody to you guys, um, any of you that are willing to share it and promote it and share it to your story or whatever, the more people to see it, the better. Because all we're just trying to do at this point is just have a positive impact on people's lives, especially. I mean, I live for that. That's part of my mission statement year round, but especially during a season like this and what we're dealing with and what everybody's confronted with. So anyways, I'll keep trying to find some more folks and bring them to you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you guys later.